Imagine your country is drowning. Your currency is collapsing. Shelves are emptying. The government can't pay its workers. Hospitals are running out of medicine. People are scared. Then, someone throws you a rope. An organization with billions of dollars, experts in suits, a plan that promises to fix everything. You grab it, because what else do you do when you're drowning? But here's the thing nobody tells you. That rope has conditions attached. And by the time you figure out what those conditions actually mean, your schools are closed, your workers are rioting in the streets, and the people who threw you the rope are already on a plane to their next appointment. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the documented history of the International Monetary Fund and the countries that took its help. The question isn't whether the IMF helped. The question is, helped who? The IMF was born in 1944 at a conference in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. The world had just survived the Great Depression. Then, a world war. Leaders wanted a system to make sure that kind of collapse never happened again. So, 44 countries agreed to create a global financial safety net. A lender of last resort. A lifeguard for economies in trouble. A noble idea, genuinely, and for a while, it mostly worked as advertised. But here's the critical detail most people miss. The IMF isn't a charity, it's a bank. And like any bank, it has shareholders. The biggest shareholders: the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Japan. The countries that need the IMF the least have the most control over it. Think of it like a homeowners association where the wealthiest residents write all the rules. And the people whose houses are falling apart have the least vote. By the 1970s and 80s, something shifted. Developing nations in Latin America, Africa, Southeast Asia started taking on massive debt. Some of it reckless, some of it forced by global commodity crashes completely outside their control. When they couldn't repay, they called the IMF. And the IMF answered with a document called a Structural Adjustment Program, or SAP. That acronym turned out to be more appropriate than anyone intended. On paper, it sounds reasonable. A government asks the IMF for a loan. The IMF says, "Fine, but you need to get your house in order." Cut government spending. Privatize state-owned industries. Devalue the currency. Raise interest rates. Open markets to foreign competition. Remove subsidies on food and fuel. Short-term pain, long-term gain. Clean logic on a whiteboard. But here's what that logic looked like in reality. Jobs vanished. Food prices soared. Public services collapsed. Debt grew. When you privatize state water systems and a foreign corporation triples the price, people in the streets of Cochabamba, Bolivia, are literally fighting over water. That happened in the year 2000. It's called the Cochabamba Water War. When you devalue the currency, your debt, denominated in US dollars, becomes instantly more expensive to repay. So, you borrow more to repay the old loan, and the cycle begins. Imagine a doctor. You're sick. He says, run 10 miles a day, eat only vegetables, quit your job. Maybe that works for someone healthy, but you're already weak. And the treatment itself might kill you before the disease does. That was structural adjustment. Let's go to the evidence, because this isn't abstract. Argentina, 2001. A model student, until it wasn't. Bank accounts frozen. 5 presidents in 10 days. Poverty exploding in months. Even insiders spoke out. Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize winning economist, resigned from the World Bank and went public. He said the IMF was administering medicine without properly diagnosing the illness. Today, more than 60% of low-income countries are in or near debt distress. Even the IMF now admits that extreme austerity was oversold. And this isn't history. It's happening now. In Sri Lanka, in Pakistan, in Egypt, in Ecuador. Same playbook, different decade. So what do we take from this? The IMF isn't a villain. It's an institution, built by humans, shaped by power. Some loans stabilized currencies. Some programs prevented worse short-term collapses. But when the architects of a system consistently benefit, and those it claims to help consistently get worse, at some point, you have to ask whether help is the right word. The countries that took these loans didn't have many choices. That's the nature of desperation. The most powerful leverage in the world isn't military force. It isn't sanctions. It's debt. And the rules around who issues it, who controls it, and who sets the conditions, those rules matter more than most of us ever learned in school. The IMF is still operating, still issuing loans, still attaching conditions. If a doctor keeps prescribing the same medicine, and the patients keep getting sicker, is that incompetence? Or is it working exactly as intended? Drop your answer in the comments. Share this with someone who still trusts the official story, and hit subscribe for more stories.